still on the no case submission case filed by Mazi Nnamdi Kanu's lawyers. Today, we'll be looking at the 8 times a no case submission was applied and victory secured in the courts, while juxtaposing it with Mazi Nnamdi Kanu's no case submission requests and the possibilities of him securing a victory through that same rule. I also want to bring you a shocking revelation which many may not have known. And that is, did you know that Mazi Nnamdi Kanu has actually applied for a no case submission in the past? It's a fact. I'm serious. Don't look at me like that. I'm serious. But anyway, how did that one go as at then? Stay with me in this video. I will be revealing that also to you. So as you can see, we have on our hands today a bumper package. Definitely by now you know the rules. Whatever you're doing right now, it is time. So these are the 8 times a no case submission rule was applied in the court and how actually it went. Number 1. A no case submission was filed during the case of Femi Fani-Kayode versus the Federal Republic of Nigeria in the year 2018 in the Federal High Court, Lagos. The charge was actually a 4.9 billion money laundering case. So after the no case submission was submitted, what was the outcome? Fani-Kayode was discharged and acquitted on all 38 count charges. So what was the reason? The reason was that the prosecution failed to link him personally to the alleged funds. And the judge and the presiding judge in that occasion was Justice Rita Ofili Ajumogobia. So this is one case that a no case submission was filed and victory was secured. So let's move on to the second case. The second case where no case submission was applied was in the case of Senator Nnamdi Kanu, in the year 2019. And this case was actually before his final conviction, because as you are aware, he was later convicted before the Supreme Court actually set him free. But in the Federal High Court, Abuja, he was charged with 7.65 billion naira fraud that allegedly disappeared under him as Abia State Governor. A no case submission definitely, as I said, was filed, by his lawyers. So what was the outcome? The no case submission actually helped in striking out some of the charges. Did you hear that? Did you hear that? So he was later convicted in 2019, but the conviction was still overturned by the Supreme Court in 2020 due to procedural error. So it looked like in this case of Nnamdi Kanu, not all the charges were struck off, but I think most of it was struck off. So it is possible also for a no case submission not to strike out all the charges. So let's go on. Number 3, Peter Odili. Peter Odili's lawyers filed a no case submission in his EFCC case in the Federal High Court, Port Harcourt, where he was alleged of fraud and misappropriation of billions and billions of naira. So after the no case submission was filed, what was the verdict? Here, the judge upheld the no case submission and it was a victory for Peter Odili. Aside the no case submission, the EFCC was even barred from prosecuting him by perpetual injunction granted by the same court. So, as it is, the EFCC cannot, except under undeniable, obvious evidence, the EFCC cannot go after Peter Odili. That is why he has been walking free till today, because they failed to bring evidences pointing him to any of the offense. So his lawyers filed a no case submission, and that no case submission was upheld, and Peter Odili was set free. Number 4, Dr. Joseph Nwobike, SAN. He was accused of misconduct by the EFCC. He filed for a no case submission in the High Court of Lagos State. What was his charge? Definitely attempting to pervert the course of justice. So after filing the no case submission, what happened? Some of the charges were actually dismissed, but some others were retained and the case proceeded. Let's go on. Number 5, Sambo Dasuki. I'm sure we all remember Sambo Dasuki. In his case involving the Federal Republic of Nigeria, he also filed a no case submission. What was his charge? Illegal possession of arms and money laundering. So after the no case submission was filed by him and his lawyers, what was the outcome of it? The no case submission was partially upheld in some of the counts. The presiding judge was Justice Adeniyi Ademola. What was the reason for dismissing the case? Inconsistent witness testimony, and procedural defects. Number 6, Air Commodore Umar Mohammed versus the federal government, 2017. A no case submission was filed by Umar Mohammed and his lawyers. And this was in the Federal High Court, Abuja. His charge was money laundering and illegal possession of firearms. What was the outcome of the no case submission? The no case submission was upheld on almost all the charges under the judge, Justice Binta Nyako. It was said that the prosecution failed to establish how the accused person committed those offenses. Number 7, Fred Ajudua versus the EFCC in 2017 in the Lagos State High Court, definitely. A no case submission was filed by the lawyers of Fred Ajudua, and he was being charged for 419 advanced fee fraud, definitely called 419. So what was the verdict? The court upheld the no case submission, of course, on many of the fraud cases filed against him. So it was kind of like a success. So what was the reason for that, for the no case submission and for the judge upholding the no case submission? The EFCC failed to call crucial witnesses to nail him, and the case was deemed speculative in its nature. And last but not the least, Dr. Fortune Fiberisima, former President Jonathan's doctor. He filed a no case submission in the Lagos State High Court in his case of abuse of office. What was the outcome of the no case submission he filed? The court discharged him after a successful no case submission filing. The reason was that the court found no criminal intent established and the defense was not able to prove its case. This so far are the 8 times a no case submission was applied in cases in court and how they all panned out. So out of the 8 cases that we read that filed for this no case submission, 5 over 8 secured a victory. Let me tell you, you can see it clearly that nobody has time to waste in the court. Even the judge, even the prosecution, even the defense, nobody has time to waste. And if it's not working, it's not working. The judge has been sitting down on that chair, listening day by day, sometimes to cock and bull story. But judges will never tell you what to do. They will keep on being there until the case runs out. But during the case, judges already know. They are not stupid. They have notes they take. They are not stupid. They have jotter. They have notes. They know what is going on. But they are judges. They must maintain silence until the end, the last day. Sometimes judges even know how the case will be, how the case will play halfway of the case. But they can never say. That is just the way they are built. It's very important that in no case submission, if you are sure of your case, if you're also observant of your case, it's like the case of justice happens every day in our lives. When you go to the streets, people fight, people have issues, they come and say, bros, I beg, come and see. Come and hear this thing that happened here. Come and check whether I'm the one that is at fault or this guy. You ask the person, okay, what is the problem? He narrates his story. Already, as if a normal human being, you know how that case is going to go. You know how to judge the case. But you have to still wait for him to finish telling you the story and for the other person to tell you his story. Then you also ask one or two people around to corroborate this same story. And So having seen these 8 cases and seeing the way it went, there is hope for Mazi Nnamdi Kanu. There is a big hope if 5 out of 8 cases could be given victory from no case submission. It means only one thing, that victory is 70% secured through no case submission if you are sure of what you are doing. And if you know that you definitely are fighting for the right thing. And on this case, I have the faith. We need to believe and pray and hold strong that definitely with God on our side, a no case submission victory is just a court case away. I mentioned earlier in this video that, and like I said earlier in the video, this may shock many of you. Mazi Nnamdi Kanu has actually told this part before. Yes, he has filed for a no case submission. And I'm going to break it down to you on what happened. How did it go? Because we've been here before and he's still in the dungeon. But I want to break that issue down for you. So walk with me. In the year 2022, October, after the prosecution closed its case on Mazi Nnamdi Kanu, 2022, Kanu's legal team filed a no case submission, arguing that the prosecution failed to establish a prima facie case. Also, they argued that the evidence against Mazi Nnamdi Kanu was either weak, inadmissible, or didn't directly link him to any form of violence. Also, they argued that Kanu's statements were mere political opinion and not terrorism. But what happened? That is what we want to know. What happened after that? I'll tell you. The Federal High Court declined the no case submission. Under guess who? Guess who was the judge? Of course, your guess is as good as mine. Justice Binta Nyako. Justice Binta Nyako. Now she ruled that Nnamdi Kanu had a case to answer in the 7 count charges. You can imagine. You can imagine. In 2022, October. She said the evidence was sufficient to proceed. That the evidence the prosecution gave and the witnesses gave were enough to proceed. Where is the evidence now? Particularly the evidences concerning his alleged role in inciting violence, his leadership of IPOB. Imagine, it's an offense to be a leader of a group. Many years ago, the group was proscribed. Let me not say what I want to say. Also, specific threats made in his broadcasts. These were the reasons she gave why she will not grant case submission. The reason she did not grant is simple. There is an agenda to keep him there. There is nothing Binta Nyako granted Nnamdi Kanu. Not one thing. Not medical checkup. Not transferring him to the prison or house arrest as he requested. Not even allowing a free and fair trial. I'm sure if Nnamdi Kanu asks for a cup of water in the court, she will also request. She was even doing more than what they sent her to do. I'm telling you. Just to show, to overdo, to show that yes, so I'm doing the work. I hope I'm trying. I even did extra. Just trying to impress her tribal people and the people that sent her. And the funny part is that these people that are holding Nnamdi Kanu in this country, they're not up to 10. If you count them one by one, people and groups, they are not up to 10. Think about it very well. So a clear case of injustice has been meted upon this man for ages. The day Nnamdi Kanu decided to fight for his people was the day he offended many people. And I dare say it, that many of those people that he offended are even from his own tribe. Because Nnamdi Kanu always says, many Igbo men like to please the Fulani. They like to play boy. And he is very correct. But they will keep on messing them up the same way they messed them up at the APC primaries in Abuja. People like Rochas were messed up, whitewashed. People like the late Ogbonayonu, with all due respect to his soul, I know he's late. I don't know if maybe the depression or the betrayal of what happened to him in the primaries may actually have led to his pain, because this was a man that was alive, doing well, strong, a minister. All of a sudden, after the primaries, he was never himself again and lost his life. We are worshiping people who don't need you. They don't need you. Ogbonayonu may also rest in peace, actually. But if you have stood with your people, you will still be definitely strong alive. Because your people will not betray you. Your people, I mean the Igbo people, if you actually work for them, they will never betray you. And you will be happy. Because anybody that is loved by his family will always live a long life. Love heals. Frustration, betrayal kills. That aside, Justice Binta Nyako's rejection of Nnamdi Kanu's no case submission should not be taken serious. You can clearly see that in her own court case, that was a dungeon outside the dungeon. There was never anything Nnamdi Kanu would get from her court. So let us not be worried about that, because it happened before definitely doesn't mean it will happen again. We are on Omotosho's turn, and Omotosho has clearly said that he is a man that follows rule of law. I do not see any evidence that has been brought before the court that will make Omotosho to say, I want this case to continue, come and defend this case. If I begin to list side by side all the unrelated, uncorroborated, disjointed evidences these witnesses have been bringing to the court since the day this court started, you will be amazed and you will be shocked to know that Omotosho, if not that it is illegal for a judge to give judgment in the middle of a court case, he was supposed to have stood up halfway and said, Bia, mass witness, just leave my court. I end this case here. But unfortunately, you and I know he can't do that. So we are watching to see whether he's going to do it. Now the time has come for it. Because the time has come. for him to let us know if he has been observant in this court, the same way everybody has been observant in this court. Once again, I greet you all and I wish you all the best in your endeavors and good luck in all you do. So I still call upon every one of you to still pray and fast, because the end definitely is near. And Nnamdi Kanu will walk free. I've been your host, Chi Ne Du. Thanks for watching this video. Till I see you next one. Peace.